3, 2, 1. And welcome back to episode 7 of the Y Ball Starters podcast. 7's a big number. It was Brandon Roy's number, and now it's the number of podcasts that we've done. I am joined today by my co-hosts, John LaValle and Kendall Krang. We're recording on a Sunday night, February 21st. How are you guys doing?
Good.
We out here doing. How are you doing, Drew?
I'm actually doing really well. I had a great day today. Had a great day yesterday, and I won't go into any more details.
Thank you for Drew for not sharing his personal life on the pod.
We want to keep this a basketball show.
I like to keep my personal life. Yeah. I want to keep my personal life in my podcast.
Very understandable.
I have three lives. I have my personal life, my professional life, and my podcast life. It's the 3 Ps, and it's my motto. What can you say?
And if you had to rank the 3, what would the order be?
Personal, in no particular order.
Right. So 3 high for 3.
Yeah. Call it a 3-way priority. Yeah.
Right. Kendall, what would you prioritize yours?
Man, I think I'd have to put podcast 1, professional 2, and I can't remember what the third one was, but it's probably not that important.
It was personal life, which
yeah, that's it.
Right.
Yeah, definitely at the bottom for that.
The grind never stops.
Dude, work always. Right. As you can see, it's really
well. Before we subject ourselves to hearing how John's weekend was, ton of basketball this weekend. All 9 of the teams that we follow here in the Pacific Northwest played yesterday. It's the first time in a while that's happened. Mostly successful for the college schools. Obviously, the Blazers took a tough to the Wizards. We're not too worried about that here on the Y Ball Starters. We've learned not to overreact one way or another.
We're gonna have to trade
no more. That was the old Y Ball, not the new one.
Yeah, we flipped the script here on the Y Ball Starters. Well, today, if you're wondering what we're going to talk about, on the podcast, we are going to make it up as we go, because we have some ideas of stuff we're going to bring up, but we think it'd be interesting to just kind of muck around, josh it up a little bit with the boys, and see where this goes. How does that sound to you guys?
It can only go up. Let's be real here.
There isn't a possibility of this going wrong. I can't think of one.
I don't think so. Well, it was John who had a really great idea in our group chat that we do, the 3 of us. No one else is allowed in that group chat.
Top secret Y Ball Starters information in there.
3 is the number of people allowed in there, and the number of people allowed in there is 3. There's a Holy Grail reference for you guys. But a great idea that John has was to do a starter of the week. Now, before you listeners at home think that that's just going to be us hyping up ourselves or communicating compliments to each other, it's not going to be that. We're going to shout out someone in the basketball world from the Pacific Northwest who's particularly stood out in the last week. Kendall, who's your starter of the week?
Okay, all this being said, who would be the starter of the week out of us 3?
Probably John. He got us onto Spotify.
Oh, baby.
John got us onto Spotify.
I would say
he did.
When you get us on Apple Music.
Yeah. Well, I kind of need our producer to step up his game on that.
Careful or he's gonna quit.
Yeah, that's true. He's pretty sensitive, so we don't want to say anything bad. You know what? I thank you, producer, for all the work that you do.
Just so I edit this out.
Anyhow, our individual week, I'd have to give it to John, even though he did somehow manage to make our password our username, even though it's not the public username. I'm not really sure how that one happened, and neither is John, but
all right, well,
that's pretty impressive.
Got it fixed, and John's my starter of the week. In the basketball world, though, Kendall, who's your starter of the week?
In the basketball world, my starter of the week would have to go to my guy at WSU, Noah Williams, and he had a heck of a week. He played against Cal and Stanford, got the two Bay teams from California down there. He had 32 points against a winning against California. He had 9 rebounds, 7 assists, just a great all-around game there. And then in a triple overtime, big one against Stanford, who's currently on the bubble, probably out of the bubble now after that loss. He had 40 points, 5 rebounds, 2 assists. He did have 9 turnovers, but they get the dub, and you can't really complain about that with playing 54 minutes. Holy crud.
Noah Williams in that game, I'll confess, he was one of my top starters too. His stat line, I was sharing it with John, is one of my favorite stat lines I've ever heard. Because like you mentioned, he played 54 minutes and scored 40 points against Stanford. Triple overtime, 85-76. You also mentioned the 9 turnovers.
Yeah.
And what was his he went 12 of 35 from the field. Which is just fantastic.
That is very high volume.
Young man was putting up shots.
Shout out to Noah Williams. And Isaac Bonton, WSU's best player, was out for that game.
Dude, that might be more of a green light than Damian Lillard gets.
Yeah, that's
35 shots. That's more than Damian Lillard takes.
I watched a decent amount of the game, and he hit a crazy 3 as well to bring WSU was down by 5 at the end of, I think it was at the end of regulation.
Hey man,
he had a crazy rainbow 3.
If your team gets a dub, you can't really complain about how many shots they're taking up, honestly.
It's true.
Nope. He was 8 of 18 from 3, which is a phenomenal percentage.
Man, the teams were not dropping.
You've seen someone in college take,
which means he was 4 of 17 from 2, but he did get 10 free throws in. So
8 of 10.
Shout out to Noah Williams for one of my for Kendall being Kendall's starter of the week, obviously, but also having one of my favorite stat lines of all time. Most points for a WSU player in 10 years, Klay Thompson, 43, 2011.
Wow.
That guy's pretty good.
You mean our guy CJ Ellaby?
Interesting tidbit, according to this article. No. Apparently, Noah Williams' father, Guy Williams, scored a then WSU record 43 points in 1983.
Wow.
So
like father,
amazing
like son.
WSU performance. Yep. Almost 40 years apart. Geez, 1983 was almost 40 years ago. That's crazy.
Oh my gosh.
John, who's your starter of the week?
So my starter is someone that hasn't played basketball this week. Naturally.
Sure.
My starter, though, every time that I tune into their games, you really can't miss him on the bench, and that's Yusuf Nurkic. If you've seen the fits that he's been wearing, particularly last night, from us recording, we played the Wizards, and the fit he wore is unbelievable. It's like if you made camo out of bright colors, like skyscrapers and fish is what it is. And Big Boy got a haircut. Got a good old buzz cut back from his long hair, and he is looking fly as heck.
He was looking pretty fly out there.
Shout out to Nurk for
Nurk.
I can't wait for that guy to come back.
Nurk does keep good style very, very, very well. I think our whole team, actually, for the most part, is pretty well dressed.
I agree. I look forward to the fit drops.
Oh, yeah, too. Definitely.
I'll shout out CJ McCollum. I like CJ McCollum's style quite a bit.
I was just going to say CJ. Yeah.
Big fan of Rocco style, too.
We're a very classy team.
Go ahead.
True.
I would agree with that. I would completely agree with that.
Yeah, Drew,
well, I'm going to keep it. Yesterday was a huge day for Eastern Washington hoops.
Indeed.
We talked about Washington State's big Zaga got a almost 40-point win. They scored 106 points against San Diego. Their starters were out by 10 minutes. Expected, but they got it done. And Eastern Washington Eagles are on fire. They have won 9 games in a row. This week, so the Big Sky's doing back-to-back 2-game series. They'll play a team twice in a row to kind of minimize travel with this COVID situation. This week they played Montana, who beat Eastern twice last year. They were the only team to do that in the year where Eastern won the conference championship before the COVID shutdowns. And on Wednesday, in a press conference, Montana head coach Travis DeCure said that over the past few years, Montana has been a speed bump for Eastern Washington's rolling train. And Eastern Washington head coach Shante Leggins liked that video, and I knew it was on. Montana, big rival of Eastern. Eastern plays Montana at home on Thursday, on the road in Missoula on Saturday. Both games, Eastern wins by the exact same final score, 90-76.
Dang, I didn't even catch that. That's crazy.
That's crazy.
And that brings me to my starter of the week. My guy, Kim Aiken Jr. is my starter of the week. He had 21 points on Thursday, and then yesterday, Saturday, February 20th, in Missoula, 28 points and 10 rebounds. Michael Meadows added 20 points for the Eagles. Tanner Groves continues his Big Sky Player of the Year campaign with 14, but definitely shout out to Kim Aiken Jr. He did say on Twitter that he was inspired after watching the movie Green Lantern, so you have to question that one a little.
Yeah, what's up with that?
I'm not really sure.
Why?
So Kim, if you'd like to maybe drop us an explanation on that one, because I saw you were getting flamed on Twitter a little bit for saying that you drew your inspiration from Ryan Reynolds' Green Lantern.
Yeah, I definitely need to hear a little bit.
Great performance this week. Eastern's on a roll. So yeah, Kim Aiken Jr., my starter of the week. Obviously, I'm biased as an Eastern fan, but they're playing really, really well right now.
Eastern is, let me tell you, the teams from Spokane and Cheney are not doing too bad this year. Not doing too bad.
Not at all.
It's a good time to be living in Eastern Washington.
Eastern's 12-6, which means Gonzaga and Eastern are a combined 34-6.
That is true.
Yep.
That's a pretty good record.
That does seem fair to give Gonzaga's all 6 of Eastern's losses.
Yeah.
Yep.
Very generous over here.
Yeah, absolutely. That brings me to a segment that we have been doing regularly, John. Where are they now?
John, where are they
baby.
now?
All right. We have a fan favorite for this week. For anyone that's grown up or has been a Portland fan for more than 6 years now, since he's been traded away, knows exactly who I'm talking about. And it's Nicholas Batum.
Who's
We're
that?
going to do a deep dive into Nicholas Batum. And we just kicked Kendall out the pod. All right. So Nicholas Batum now plays for the Clippers and actually starts with going 2 seasons basically without starting a game, or a season without starting a game last year. But Nicholas Batum does average 9 points a game on the Clippers. And today they played Brooklyn today, and he had 3 points on 1 shooting.
That's pretty good.
The previous 2 games, he has combined for 0 points.
And he starts?
He starts. Isn't that crazy?
On one of the best teams in the league.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, I'm sure he's playing his role really well.
Is he's on a veteran minimum, right?
A veteran minimum?
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yes, he is.
He
just came off his what was it, $30 million contract that
it was something like that.
Yeah.
But they really made up for that for signing Gordon Hayward to a $40 million contract.
Michael Jordan just kind of likes to one up it there over in Charlotte. On the bright side, they didn't have to trade anything to get Gordon Hayward, which I don't know what Danny Ainge was doing there.
That's true.
True. You guys, can you guess how old Nicholas Batum is?
30. Let's see. I'm trying to think how many seasons he was in Portland.
Did he come when he was 18 or 19?
Ooh,
that'll help me narrow it down because he was like what, 08, 09? When Batum first showed up.
Nailed the year, yeah.
Hey, nice.
My guess is
total guess
or around. Yeah, no, you nailed it. It's 08, 09.
08, 09.
So almost every game his rookie year.
So he's probably like
Batum 31?
Yeah, I was gonna say 30, 31.
Close, 32.
32.
Oh.
Okay, so he was a
So he's still got a long life ahead of him.
That's true.
You'd think so.
And he's probably got a long career ahead of him. I would say he's still got 10 years if he can play as long as LeBron.
Hey, if he's playing this good right now at 32, why can't he play this good at 37 or 38?
That's a good point, Kendall.
I'm sure he can maintain the status quo for many years to come.
I mean, he is
Do you
good.
guys know what number he is on the Clippers?
Say that again?
Do you guys know what number he is in the Clippers?
I don't.
33.
Wow.
Oh.
That was not going to be my first guess.
That's almost how old he is.
That's true. He actually turns 33 this year in 2020.
Oh.
So not during
Well,
the
happy
season
birthday to
at
Nick
all.
Batum early.
Yes. In December 14th. So almost there.
A little ways out. I will say, I'll give this to Nicholas Batum. He is probably good for the team as far as distributing. He's got the size, obviously. So, I mean, if he's just going to be a distributor there, kind of play the point type role, I guess.
He actually averages almost a steal and a half a game, which is
there you go.
Very surprising.
He also
only 2 assists a game.
Okay.
How many assists?
2.
Oh.
So he gets a lot of triple singles.
Triple singles. My guy out here.
Also a lot of triple goose eggs.
Yeah, probably that too.
A lot of cardio out there.
What's one of your guys' favorite Nick Batum memories from his time in Portland?
I just enjoyed the way that he had dunked the ball. Like, he just kind of
very soft.
Like it was
very soft.
It was so like, just soft, very like non-aggressive, like just like, oh, okay, I'm dunking the ball.
Very much dropping the ball on the rim.
Yeah, exactly. It was more like putting it in a basket rather than like trying to make a statement.
Does it make you uncomfortable when players dunk it really hard, Kendall?
No, actually, I enjoy it. In fact, one of my favorite moments at a Blazer game was when Jonathan Simmons, when he was on the San Antonio Spurs, absolutely just destroyed the rim over Myers Leonard. It was one of the funniest moments that I've seen at a game. I was just like,
we were at that game together, Kendall.
Yeah,
I actually had just thought of and that was the game where Noah Vonleh caught the loose ball and laid it in at the buzzer. Both team scrubs were in because it was a meaningless game. And Noah Vonleh won it at the buzzer. And Greg Popovich just died laughing and shook hands with Terry Stotts. It was great.
Wasn't it like the last game of the season?
It was near the last game of the regular season. That was the North Cleaver year.
Yeah, that game was ridiculous. I was like, Noah Vonleh gets that, Jonathan Simmons gets the dunk. I'm like, geez, now that would be a good where is he at? Because I haven't heard Jonathan Simmons' name in a while. Is he still in the league?
I believe he's in the G League, if I remember. I was watching a game recently that they mentioned his name. So he's either in the G League or overseas, but I'm not sure.
He's actually in the Chinese Basketball League now. He's 31.
Oh, wow.
He's only 31.
Already?
Wow.
Oh, I thought he was.
John and I have polar opposite reactions.
Yeah, I definitely thought he was. I thought he was younger. He was so athletic.
That was awesome
when he entered the league.
That was awesome. I was like, wow, he's already 31. And John was like, he's only
31?
Dude, he was so athletic, though, for being an older dude in the league.
I mean, well, granted, we did go to the game like 4 years ago, so he was only 27 at the time.
True.
Yeah, that might have been 4 years ago. Yeah, that's true. Do you guys have any other Nick Batum?
Well, clearly here at the Y Ball Starters, we here at the Y Ball Starters, we clearly keep more tabs on Nick Batum than we do on Jonathan Simmons. Hey, that leads me into a question I actually thought of while we were discussing our where are they now is combined. We've probably hit 60 or 70 Blazers games all time. And we've been to combined between the three of us, whether all three of us went to a game or two of the three of us went to a game together. We've been to a ton.
Yeah.
What are some of your guys' favorite games that we've hit up together? I have an easy answer, but John might steal it from me.
Together, or like even on our own though,
or just like a pair of two of us, even one that you guys were out on our own. But I obviously live on the east side, so when I come back home, I haven't been to very many games that you guys weren't at, but that's obviously different for you guys since you guys live in the Portland area.
Yeah.
Honestly, the first game that you guys took me to ever, which was when we played against Charlotte, that was a really fun game because I think that we were down like 18 or 20 points in the second quarter, and then we ended up coming back, tying it, and then we won in overtime. And that's when we had Gerald Henderson, who I low-key really enjoyed watching.
We won in regulation. They had like a shot at the buzzer. Yeah, because they had a shot at the buzzer that went in, but the guy didn't release it in time. So we thought we were going to
I remember
OT,
that.
But
yes,
he was like still in his hand.
That was a fun game. Was that your first game? Was that your first game, Kendall?
Yeah, that was my first game that I'd been to.
Crazy.
That was a fun game. That's right. I forgot. Yeah, you're right. It was that he didn't get the shot off in time.
Yeah, that was an awesome game. Drew and I went to a playoff game one year. The game that Blake Griffin and Chris Paul both got hurt like in the same quarter, I think. That game was crazy. We were standing room only, and like we were just packed in the stadium. It was so loud.
That was super awesome. That game produced probably my favorite moment in a sporting arena. So this was game 4, and this was a year Portland was predicted to get smacked by the Clippers, and granted, if Chris Paul and Blake Griffin had been healthy, if Chris Paul and Blake Griffin had been healthy, Clippers probably would have won that series. Well, let's be honest.
Yeah.
But so it was game 4. Portland had won. Portland got steamrolled in Los Angeles games 1 and 2. This is the year after LaMarcus Aldridge and company left, and it really became Damian Lillard's team, and CJ McCollum stepped up quite a bit. So John and I, we were all part of this thing called Blazers Student Pass, where we would get texts a couple hours before game time saying that tickets were available, usually standing room, but sometimes seated seats for like $10. 10 or 20, and then I think the playoff tickets were like 20 or something, but we jumped on it because we're like, we're obviously going to a playoff game 4. And Portland actually starts off pretty high, and then Chris Paul breaks his hand. I remember, John, do you remember that kid? He was probably 13, and he was he informed our whole section. He saw on his phone, and he's like, Chris broke his hand. Chris Paul broke his hand. And everyone starts like losing their mind because now it's like, oh, Portland has a shot to win this series. It was a lot of fun.
Because fans enjoy other players getting hurt when it's not theirs.
They do. Fans suck.
Yeah, it was an interesting reaction. And the loudest I have ever heard a sports arena was in that game. For context, I've been to Oregon football games at Autzen Stadium. I've been to Washington State football games when they've knocked off top 5 teams. I have never heard an arena louder in a moment than that game when DeAndre Jordan airballed 2 free throws in a row. The arena lost its mind, and it was so much fun. And Portland won the game and won the series.
That would have been a fun game to be at.
How often do you see a player airball 2 free throws in a row?
It was awesome. I remember like half an hour before the game, Chris Paul was already talking to the refs, and I was like, yeah, go figure.
Dude, Chris Paul never changed. Never changed Chris Paul. That being said, I definitely respect him more now.
I mean, we've been to a ton of games.
We have. I remember we were at a game, I think it was the last game of the season, and it was because it was fan appreciation night. I think it was Drew and I went, though Kendall might have been there too. And we were playing Utah, who that year Utah was bad. Like they were like the 10, 11, 12 seeds, like something like that. And Portland was like the 4 seed. And so we're like, great, we'll get a nice easy win. We'll watch them play. And this dude that for some reason cooks Portland every time that he plays named Trevor Booker. Who's this career bench player, was he like 14 of 15 shooting for like 35 points. And then
didn't he hit 40?
Utah won by 25.
I thought he hit 40.
I think he did hit 40.
He 40.
Yeah, I think he did.
He only missed like 1 or 2 shots.
And it was
Bro,
all
was
on like
so crazy.
And it was like all mid-range fadeaways. It was an absolute clinic.
Oh yeah, none of them, like very few of them were layups. Like it was like actual like moves on every possession. Was that before they had Donovan Mitchell, or was that, did they have them?
I think so. I think that was before Donovan Mitchell.
Yeah, I remember.
I think Nick Batum was still on Portland in that game.
I want to say yes. I think it was the Aldridge and Lillard Blazers. I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
And John and I also went to the first game where Wesley Matthews came back after heading to Dallas.
Oh, that's true. I forgot about that.
We intentionally went to the game because we wanted to see our boy Wesley Matthews, and he got a nice standing ovation when he was.
Oh, which he deserves.
And we lost. He got a win.
That was the game where CJ spun Dirk like a top. That was fun.
That's right.
Yes,
I forgot we were at
that's
that
a
game.
classic. Yeah. That's a highlight. I think
it's a fun game.
I think one of the weirdest
that
games,
was a lot of fun.
I think one of the weirdest games I've been to was this was before, I think the year before we got Evan Turner, because he was on the Celtics. And it was a back and forth game, like the whole game. Really good. One of the better games, honestly, that I've been to. And at the buzzer, essentially, like 1 second left, Evan Turner hit a corner 3-pointer against us to beat us. And I'm like, are you kidding me? Evan Turner, out of all people.
You were at that game?
Yeah, I was at that game. I was like, are you serious right now?
Wow. I did not know that.
Like, how does Evan Turner hit a game-winning 3?
Jeez.
We needed him to do that against a Golden State.
That's bad. I went to a game by myself.
Oh, which
we
one?
Didn't need him that. John, that was you and me that went to a Golden State game, right?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Were you guys at that one?
Yeah, we saw Katie and Clay.
That was that the one
were,
that.
We were at that
got
one.
Rusted. Yeah, I mean, it was kind of okay that Evan Turner missed it because he like full arm extended shoved Durant. Like it was an obvious.
Yeah, he did.
Foul. Like he would have got flamed everywhere if he'd actually made it. But yeah, no, that was a crazy game. That was a really good game.
I went to a game by myself. I think it was that same year. It was after we traded for Nurk, and it was the game to really get into the playoffs against Denver, which obviously was Nurk's first game against Denver after he was traded from them. Mm. And he went for like 30 and 15. And I was like, I've never been to a game by myself before. Might as well try it. This was back when I was living in Vancouver. And I saw that I could get upgrades for like $25 into the lower bowl. And it turns out they were like 10th row seats behind the basket. And it was super fun. Obviously Portland won a big game and got like Nurk was the hero, but CJ McCollum also had a really, really good game. So it was quite a lot of fun. That was a fun one.
That's a pretty good game to go to by yourself for a first one.
It was pretty. Some old guy told me to sit down because I couldn't have my seat, and then his wife scolded him. It was pretty funny.
It's always a good time.
Frank, calm down. Everybody's going to be standing this game. And I was like, she gets it.
Was he drunk?
See?
No, but a guy who sat next to me was absolutely wasted.
Nice.
He told me I do a great job going to Blazers games. And I'm like, for all you know, this is my first one. But I appreciate it.
I take that as a compliment.
Support you.
Yeah, support the cause.
Have you guys gone to any crazy collegiate games?
Gone to any?
Yeah. Like been at any like crazy finishes collegiately. I know Drew has.
I have.
Haven't you? I mean, I remember I thought of hearing, like, not this past year, but the year before, hearing some of the crazy, like, just like for Eastern. Yes. I'm going to share an Eastern Washington women's basketball story.
Oh.
Which is it's pretty off brand for that, but you know what? This is a crazy story. Whether it's men's or women's basketball. A great story is a great story. So Eastern was playing Idaho, and Eastern was like kind of an average team in the Big Sky. this year, and this year I was the beat writer for this basketball team. And Eastern was playing Idaho, who was at the time first in the conference. Really close game and forth. And so Eastern is down 3 with about 20 seconds left, and one of the gals hit a 3 to tie the game with about 13 seconds left. Super clutch. And then, I'm actually pulling up my now. I believe after that, Eastern actually forced a jump ball with about 5 seconds left. And they had the possession arrow. So they get the ball, and then Grace Kirscher, who's a freshman at the time, cut to the rim and they ran like a little backdoor sneak, and she cut to the rim and got a layup with 1.8 seconds left. Dang. Very specific, and it'll make sense. Gosh, my internet's slowing down a bit. But so 1.8 seconds left, and Idaho has to go full length because in college you can't advance the ball, and Idaho immediately called a timeout after the Eastern's basket, and Eastern's up 2 at this point.
Right.
So the Idaho inbounder baseballs a pass, and Bella Cravens, who was Eastern center at the time, she tips the pass at half court, at which point the clock's supposed to start turning. And then she tips it at half court, and it lands in the hands of Idaho's best player, who dribbles, gathers, turns, and shoots a fadeaway, and it banks in.
Oh, jeez.
It was a really awesome shot. Give her credit. But the officials waved it off because they were like, there's no way that all happened in 1.8 seconds. There's no way.
Yeah.
But then they go to review because they have to. And they determine that they actually started the clock, that the Eastern clock operator started early. So at this point, there's all this confusion. The officials are there for 10 minutes. Everyone's still in the arena after Eastern's been declared the winner. And it's like, what's going on here? And this was 1.7 seconds. I'm going to correct myself. It's 1.7 seconds left. I'm looking up right now, seeing if I can find my article. So long story short, I'll try and explain if I can find this article here. But ultimately, they declare Idaho the winner after like a 10-minute review, and there's no explanation. So all the media, so the game was actually being broadcast regionally by SWX, the local sports station. And what their TV announcer told me, he's like, well, we tried to time it ourselves from the moment. So we timed the amount of time that the pass went and was tipped.
Right.
Because the clock has to start when the ball's tipped by the Eastern player. Right. And then the turnaround shot. And they're like, well, we got that happened in, I forget how many seconds, but like, is that like, it mathematically would not have left the Idaho player's hand in time.
Right.
But the explanation the officials gave Eastern head coach Wendy, the explanation that the officials gave Eastern head coach Wendy Schuler was such that, so they basically like timed the amount of time the ball was in the air from the time the Idaho player passed the ball in, and like did like total, like it was like a super complicated like ball, like how like they timed how long the ball was in air. Yes. And mathematically, like we did the math and Coach Shulu did the math. And for the official's explanation to be plausible, the ball would have had to have been tipped, caught by the Idaho player, turn, shoot in 0.4 seconds.
What?
And so completely improbable, insane, craziest thing I've ever seen. And this is after a 10-minute review where suddenly Idaho starts celebrating. And it ended up being not very consequential because Idaho got upset in the Big Sky tournament and Eastern made it to the final before losing to Portland State. But it was a game I've ever seen, for sure. At any rate,
Wow.
it was real. I've never seen officials overturn the result of a game. I've seen them like correctly change, like the Charlotte game we were at, where they were like, "Oh, the ball didn't leave his hand, so Portland's the winner." I've never seen officials declare a winner and overturn it. That was crazy.
Did that make like national sports news? Because that's a pretty big thing, actually.
I don't remember. I mean, it made a ton of regional news, like what happened at Eastern today. But
that's pretty crazy. That's crazy.
It was pretty crazy. And in spirits of trying to at least remain a little impartial to it, the Eastern clock operator did start running the clock too early, which created confusion in the meantime. But the official methods was bizarre, and overturning a winner was bizarre.
That's weird. They tried to even time the time before it tipped, because time wouldn't come off clock anyway. Like, I don't see why that would matter at all.
I don't know why they didn't just run a timer from the time that the ball got tipped to the shot.
Yeah, that's all you need to measure.
That's all that needs to be measured.
That is so bizarre.
That's so
If it turned out she actually got it off, how the player got it off in 1.7 seconds after the ball was tipped, because the ball was tipped at half court and she on the left wing. So how that all happened in less than 1.7 seconds is, I don't know about that.
Yeah, not possible.
It's a little sketch,
but
just a little bit.
It is a little sketch. So, hey, tune into some women's basketball games too. You never know what's going to happen.
You never know what's going to happen. No, you don't.
I have another story. If you guys, from that year, if you guys will indulge me, it's a cool thing that the women's basketball team does, but it's also my worst nightmare. They do a kids' day, and they packed Reese Court with 5,000 elementary school children, all screaming in my face and throwing water bottles at me. And I've never been heckled as much as I was in that game. So I love you, Eastern Washington and athletics, but the kids' day was the bane of my existence. But I hope the kids had a great time.
Just so that all you kids out there know.
Lawson hates children.
All local Cheney kids, which I'm pretty sure include like coaches' kids.
I'm sure your girlfriend loves to hear that, Drew.
I'm sure the kids had a great time. Hey, man, I'm not going to hate my own kids, and that's what matters.
True.
What a loving.
Unless they suck.
That's true. You have to have good expectations. It's very important to have high expectations.
Are you talking about? Now, were you talking about at basketball or just in general?
Both.
If they're not good at basketball, then what's even the point?
That's a good point.
Their dad was a Y ball starter, so if they are a Y ball bench player, that's just not going to be acceptable.
I'm just gonna leave the.
What are your guys' expectations? Hey, man, I'll cut you some slack. That situation was out of your control.
It was a coaching decision, not my decision. Yeah. So, not one. Yeah.
Yeah. You'll have to take that up with our coach.
Yeah. We'll talk to your dad about it.
My dad.
Yeah. Talk with your dad about it. Let him know my beef.
What will your guys' expectations? Yeah, your beef. Kendall, you should do a rap about that. Kendall's beef.
I have zero rapping skills, but we can see how it goes.
We can figure something out. What will your guys' expectations be for your children, both in life and in basketball?
That's a really deep thought, and honestly one that kind of scares me because I really don't like to think about that.
Drew, I'm really glad you asked. And for me, all answers are the same.
All answers are the same. So what's the answer then?
Right, for sure.
What's the answer?
So number one, they have to be a scorer for sure.
Okay. In life and in basketball.
Well, I'm talking about basketball, of course.
Oh, well, you said all answers are the same for both, so I just assumed.
They are. Life is all about basketball. That's the whole point of life. So they have to be a scorer. They definitely have to be a team player. Of course.
Naturally.
So they have to be able to take a ton of shots, but also incorporate their teammates.
Absolutely. Yeah. They have to make sure their teammates are keeping up, because if one person is taking all the shots, then that's just not good. You don't want one person with all that experience and no one else with anything. So I would say they definitely have to be a shooter. They got to let it fly. They definitely have to be a team player. And I would say they have to really they have to be moldable. They have to listen to their coaches, me. And so if they are on the court doing my bidding, being like my controlled player on the court, then what's the point of having children?
Are you gonna teach them a lot of post moves, John?
A lot of what was that?
A lot of post moves.
Oh, of course. I mean, like father, like son.
Like father, like son.
Yeah,
strong in the post.
Cool 8 hours a day. Absolutely.
He's a basketball coach by day and that's Black Rock barista by night.
Son, stop short-arming your shot.
My son won't.
Son, use your off arm to get position.
Kendall, what are you going to do to ensure that your children don't inherit your wrist problems?
Honestly, I'm just going to tell them to take more threes so that they never drive into the paint. I'm going to be like, you know what? You get a steal, you shoot it from 3. If you get a wide open layup, you run to the corner and you shoot a 3. It's pretty simple. Simple mathematics. 3 is greater than 2. Time off the court is less than time on the court. It's just basic addition.
So addition by addition, then.
Exactly.
So are you saying your kids are probably going to lead the YMCA in miles covered, but all around the perimeter, basically?
Correct. Yes. Or another good way is just to kind of hang out on the 3-point line and wait for somebody to kick it out to you. Because let's be honest, nobody knows how to guard very well in the YMCA. So
that's true, guys. If we were all, say, in 30 or 20 years, when we're all, however old we are in 20 or 30 years,
so that's great math.
40 or 50.
Suppose the 3 of us were coaches and coached a YMCA team. What would our roles be as a coaching staff?
Our roles are philosophy if we're coaching.
Our philosophy too, but how would we coach our team, and who would take what responsibility, you guys think? If you had to guess. To mold the next generation of Y-ball starters.
To mold the next generation. Drew, do you have a vision for this? Do you have an answer for this?
No. But I can
No.
I can think about it.
Neither.
Who would be the head coach, probably?
It's gotta be you.
For all 3 of us. Okay.
Kendall definitely is our equipment manager.
Kendall will make sure our players are well hydrated and that they know what's going on with the stock market.
Hey, my player's always going to know things probably unrelated to basketball, but it's coaching.
John
will bring the team snacks.
Absolutely.
And coffee.
I was just about to say that.
Yeah.
It's what was it, Jimmy Butler's Big Head Coffee?
Yeah.
Are you going to overprice it and make it be $20 per cup?
Yeah, of course.
You're going to charge our players? Yeah, that's smart.
Yeah. The children playing on our team, I'm going to give them coffee and charge them for it.
Hey, it depends how old they are.
I'll take responsibility for being the head coach, but I'll value the feedback from my assistants. What kind of offense should we run? What kind of offense would we teach our
5 out?
Teach our students of the game.
5 out. I would say on offense, we should definitely grit and grind.
We have some very different philosophies. I see. This could be tough. I think we might.
No, guys, hear me out. What if we grit and grind on the perimeter exclusively. So what we're going to do is we are going
5 out.
So what we're going to do is we are going to draft, because there's totally a YMCA draft. We are going to mold physical shooters. So we're going to establish the 3-point game. Our guys are going to get into the game and start stroking. So, so then that will force the defense to pressure tougher on the perimeter, at what point we will then use our physicality to back them down and get if the 4 players are on the perimeter creating space. So we are going to basically be basketball pioneers, teaching the art of beginning to back one down from the 3-point line and effectively getting all the way into the paint for a shot.
So it's
I had a different vision.
Yeah.
What's your vision?
So we really want to attack the paint, but we have to all start spread out. Otherwise, everyone's going to be in the paint, right?
Correct.
Right.
So imagine this. The point guard's dribbling the ball down the court. They pass it to whoever. They're going to drive. They're going to kick it because everyone's going to condense because no one can shoot. At what point, when the player catches it in the corner, they're going to drive. They're going to hit someone on the wing. They're going to be open because no one can shoot. So they're going to drive, and then they're going to hit someone on the wing. They're going to be open because no one can shoot. So then what they're going to do is they're going to drive and throw someone in the corner who will be open because no one can shoot. And the most beautiful part about this strategy is we can continue to run this until we get a wide open layup because there is no shot clock.
Exactly.
This might mean that the final score is 6-4, but this will ensure that we will win.
Bro,
didn't that just happen in an Alabama high school game?
I believe so. Wasn't there like a final score that was like 11-6?
6-4.
Like
like 6-4. Yeah, look it up, dude. It's crazy.
Yeah, it happened like a couple years ago, right?
Kendall, what's your vision for the offense here?
I'm not gonna lie. I'm really intrigued by John's idea right now, to be quite frank. I really like the idea of just kind of burning out the opposing team's defense, making them run, making them rotate. It's really going to add in an extra layer that, honestly, their defense probably hasn't covered because all they probably know how to do is play man-on-man and maybe rotate with good communication.
Now, how are we going to force the defense to rotate when only one guy is driving it at a time and everyone else is standing on the perimeter?
Why aren't we kicking it out?
Well, they're not going to need to rotate because we have the shooters sitting out there.
Well, couldn't they just man up and then...
Well, no,
or are you saying we're going to try and sag them into the... Are we trying to sag
we're getting sagged.
into the paint?
Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
It's going to be like a drop coverage that they're going to play.
Absolutely.
A drop coverage that they're going to play the whole game and realize that even when they realize we don't have any shooters, but we're just going to be so efficient that it's not going to...
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, we're going to make every shot. Like, can you realistically imagine a team coached by all of us three that's not going to make every shot?
I can.
Like, there's no way, right?
Yeah.
Dude, this just happened
on the defensive end. Like,
we got no shooters to contradict Hassan Whiteside.
This just happened 9 days ago. This Alabama high school game, it was Parker High School versus Carver High School. They combined for 10 points in a 6-4 Parker win. Wow, that is
incredible.
Really
that is amazing.
Considering, too, it looks like that these teams were both 5A.
What?
Jeez Louise. Well, we're not going to be able to... We are not going to...
Dude, with the win, Parker advances take on Ramsey High School in the Alabama Area 10 championship game.
Unbelievable.
Well,
honestly, they were playing.
Well, we can't top that story. We cannot top that story with proof that John's YMCA innovative offense is going to work. So I'm going to sign us off for now on episode 7 of the Y Ball Starters podcast. Check us out on Spotify. We can say that now. We are still on SoundCloud if you prefer that. We are getting up on YouTube. That's coming soon. Should be coming soon. You guys have a great rest of your week. Next week, hopefully we'll have an exciting guest. Until then, signing off now for the Y Ball Starters.